Dear friends, let's start our webinar. Today we will discuss Embase database and some features of this database and how to use it. But before start talking about Embase, we need to discuss another platform. The name of it is Egyptian Knowledge Bank. This special portal and give access to all Elsevier resources like Embase, Reaxys, Scopus, Scival, and other resources available on this portal. It organizes several levels of access to the information over this portal for readers, for academic, for basic education, and even for kids. It's different content available for all these people, depending from the status of their access. And every citizen of Egypt can register at this portal, and you just need to enter basic information and national ID, and you will get access to this portal, and only one account available for every citizen, and duplication is not allowed. And after this registration, your account will be activated in 72 hours, and you will get access to all these resources that we was talking about.
So basically, as mentioned a bit earlier, Reaxys is available via the EKB portal. To gain access to Reaxys, what you will need to do is to open ekb.eg. That is for the Egyptian Knowledge Bank. And what you will need to do is to register if you haven't created an account. To register, there are four main portals available on EKB. These are scientific research and higher education, basic education, leaders and kids. A bit of a difference, the ones that would be most pertinent to our users here are either the readers or the scientific research and higher education. Reader is the default account. Any Egyptian citizen with a national ID can create an account using his national ID number on the readers portal, but researchers get more exclusive features and access using the scientific research and higher education portal. So the scientific research and higher education portal is actually split into two. So there is this one for the actual researchers from universities and research centers, so the staff members. And to enter this one, you would need to create the account either by being connected to from your university IP range or from your research center IP range that is connected to the network provided and the internet connection provided to you by your university or research center. Alternatively, you can also create a researcher account if you have an institutional email domain. So these are the ones that end with edu.eg, sci.eg, .gov.eg, and .plp.eg. So if you have been connected to ekb.eg, your internet connection goes through your institution, then you will not see the screen and you will be taken to the next step directly. If you have an institutional email, then you can create a researcher account directly using your institutional email. So usually it would end with edu.eg, sci.eg, or .gov.eg. And you would need to click here to go to the registration. So here I would have to insert in my detail, first name, last name, email, and confirm email. And I will have to put in my mobile number and national ID. One thing that you would need to notice is that each citizen can only create one account on ekb.eg. So if you have had created any account before as a reader, for example, you can upgrade it to being a researcher at any time you feel. If you have the, if you have
Looks like there is no sound.
the university
Okay.
portal. So it is an alternative way that you could use for now if you're having an issue with this. If I put in my details and I click on next, I'll be taken to a next screen where I will be asked to put in my professional affiliation details. So just to go over this again with how the rest of the registration would look. So if I'm registering, so I'm selecting scientific research and higher education. I'm selecting either university research center staff members or university students. If I'm connected to the IP and I select the research center member, then I'll be taken to the next step, or for university students, it should be easier. The next step to enter in your personal details. Next, you would have to enter your professional affiliation, whether you are a student or you are a researcher. And clicking on next should take you to ETB.eg. So if you already had an account, you could just sign in directly. Once you've registered or signed into ETB.eg, this would be your landing page. The background can change from time to time. They're using different scientific photos. So, and once you started on ETB.eg, that's the landing page. There is a search engine that will run your search query along all the databases of ETB. Very powerful tool if you're looking for something really specific. But to be able to use the full capacities of the solutions that you have, I will go to sources, as you can see here, and I would select all sources, and then I would scroll down through the different publishers and providers. So all Elsevier solutions are available on Elsevier. There are few exceptions, including the limited access solutions like Embase and Reaxys. Also, Cybal has a different portal as well. If I go over to Reaxys here and I click on it, so I can see here description of what is Reaxys, and then if I click on this icon here, it would take me to Reaxys solution at the end. So that's a little bit of a quick introduction of how you can actually access Reaxys on Keep.
And if you talk about Embase, the access to Embase should be done exactly the same way. So when you see the Embase icon, like this one, you will need to click on it. You will see the screen something like this, and you will see the Embase in the list of the product. So you will need to click Embase, and you would be able to get into the solution. And in addition to that, I want to explain another interesting issue that right now we are arranging, as you may know, we arrange a series of the webinar. One of them happened yesterday. It was a webinar about Reaxys and its support to the sustainable development related to food, agriculture, or water research. Today we have a webinar related to high quality systematic review and clinical trials. Tomorrow we will have very interesting webinar focused on drug research and development, which would cover the development of anti-infective drugs, for example, against COVID, against hepatitis, against HIV, and other drugs using both Reaxys and Embase from Elsevier. The next week, you would be able to get the benefits from the webinar focused on the Reaxys and how it can increase the efficiency of research related to energy and environment. We will talk about oil and gas downstream, about green chemistry, about assessment of safety of the research. And after that, we will have another webinar, which would be focused on the high quality systematic review, clinical trials, innovation treatment, and improvement of decision making in clinical practice using Embase. All of this information is available on the database's landing pages. This one, elsevierafrica.org/Reaxys. From here, you can register to the Reaxys webinars. You can find the links how to access the Reaxys. You can get additional video and materials related to Reaxys, and the same goes for the Embase. So for the Embase webinar, Embase materials you can get from this link. There is registration to the webinar, materials to the related to the Embase, and another useful information. So from this, I'm stop sharing and giving the turn to Alexei to continue the webinar.
Thank you, Andrei. Let's discuss in a little bit more details what is the Embase database. Here is the agenda for today for this part of the this webinar. I will explain what is Embase, what is content and coverage of this database, what is indexation, and how to search information in Embase, and make a short demo showing the features and tips for searching in this database. And at the end, we will also it will be questions and answers that I will try to explain to you and answer to your questions. Okay, what is the Embase? Embase is a universal and multi-purpose and up-to-date biomedical research database. It covers more than the most important international biomedical literature from 1947 to present days, and all articles are indexed in deep using life science terms and special taxonomy, you can use it to find information about adverse drug events, drug efficacy studies, medical device, drug-related biomedical, and so on. Embase give you immediately access to a range of intuitive search tools that helps to find exact answers to your research questions quickly and easy. Who usually using Embase? Very often it's pharmaceutical industry, producers of drugs, and medical devices companies, and of course educational organization, academic and government organization, and hundreds of users over the world using this database. Most often it's used for systematic reviews, clinical evaluation, competitive intelligence search, and for safety and pharmacovigilance tasks. What is the main problems of our customers and users of who are working for these things, for clinical evaluation, for systematic reviews, and other same documents? They necessary to analyze the huge amount of information, and they cannot miss anything. All relevant documents should be analyzed. It's two very difficult things that not so easy to do together. All at the moment published about 40 million articles, and every year published about 3 million new articles worldwide. And without these big data systems like Embase, it's you spend all your life to find even one relevant search. It's only using systems like this will help you to find the information. Very often to find information, specialists using internet and instruments that available for internet and instruments that available for free in the internet. Tools like Google Scholar, PubMed, Medline, and very often it's giving negative results. Sometimes you cannot find any relative information, or very often also you finding too much of information. It's not in this amount of information not possible analyzed. But if you're using Embase in comparison with other internet search, it's Embase giving you a really comprehensive result, and using the flexible instrument, it will help you to find reproducible and documentable results and find the information. It's the main difference between these free internet tools and Embase system. Couple of words about
Alexei, sorry. I think at the beginning there was a technical issue. Our attendees, it looks they cannot join, but right now we have our honorable attendees, and I think it's a good moment to show again how they can access to the EKB platform. So they can fully leverage the value of the Embase using the EKB, using the access which EKB together with Elsevier is provided. And from this side, please stop sharing the screen, and we will pass the access to Khalid.
Hello, everyone. Allow me a second to share my screen. I'd just like to introduce myself. My name is Khalid Shahlan. I'm a consultant for initially for Core Research Solutions, and I'm just here to, since I'm based in Egypt, I can help you a bit with showing how you can use EKB platform to get to the solutions in questions. So just as a very quick recap on the EKB platform, for those of you who might not be very familiar with using the full features on EKB, so just as a quick review, and also regarding the recent updates that we have. So basically, so there are 4 main portals to accessing EKB: the reader portal, the academic portal, basic education, and kids. The ones that really are of concern to us now are mainly the academic portal and secondarily the readers portal. The academic portal is available for researchers from all universities and all research institutions in Egypt, as well as, which was recently added, the students coming from Egyptian universities as well. The reader portal is a portal that's specified for all the Egyptian public. Any Egyptian citizen with a national ID can create an account on EKB just using his national ID and start using the different resources available for EKB. For our life science solutions and Embase being our topic today, both readers and academics have access to Embase all the way till the end of July. And to be able to use the EKB platform, you'd first need to register. You would need, as I said, to use your national ID, whether you're creating a reader or an academic account. So that means each Egyptian citizen gets only one account. Basically, you will go to ekb.eg, register. There are 4 main portals: the scientific research and higher education, the basic education, readers and kids. If I select on scientific research and higher education, 2 options are there: university student and researchers and staff members as well. If I click on university student, I can access directly and create an account, and it has been made. Initially, students should have their university IDs and documentation to support their claim that they are actually students. But to facilitate things with the COVID lockdown, students can just create an account directly and specify which university they are following now, and they should be able to use the researcher capabilities. For university researchers, research centers staff, university and research center staff, they would need to either create the account using a professional email or using the network from within their university or institutional center. The next step would be to add in the personal details: first name, last name, email, mobile number, and national ID, as well as birthday. And the following step would be to enter the professional details, which could be either a university student or a researcher, as mentioned a bit earlier. And once you are on EKB, I will go to sources. So this is, once I'm signed in, I will go to sources. On sources, I will click on all sources. So you can see the different publishers available on EKB. Most of Elsevier solutions are listed under Elsevier, with 4 current exceptions: Embase, Reaxys, and Novel, which are limited period availability, as well as Scival, which is only available for researcher accounts. It's not available for a reader account. So if I go and scroll over, it's actually Embase. You'll find it very next to Elsevier because all the solutions are organized alphabetically. And if I click on Embase, I will see a description and a link here. If I click on this link under list of products, it would take me directly to Embase, and I'll be logged in directly with access to the solution. So that's a recap on how to access Embase from EKB platform. Of course, you have to be from inside Egypt to be able to use EKB platform as well. So that was a bit of an overview, and I'll be relinquishing again to my colleague Andre.
Colleagues, during our webinar, in the bottom of the screen, you may see the Q&A section. And if you have any question during the webinar, please feel free to click it and raise your question, and we will be happy to answer them during the webinar, or we will contact you separately after the webinar. Also, what I would like to explain to you is what about the series of the webinar which we arrange right now. So yesterday there was a first webinar related to chemical solution Reaxys and its support to the sustainable development, for example, for food, agricultural, water research. It's happened yesterday, and the recording would be available by this link. I hope it's available right now. We have today's webinar, which is focused on high quality systematic review and clinical trials and decision making using Embase. Tomorrow we will have very specific and advanced webinar with detailed workflows and ideas how medicinal chemical database Reaxys and the database with clinical evidence Embase can support research of the drug development for novel and generic drugs, and mainly it would be focused on the development of anti-infective drugs, for example, against for example, against COVID, against hepatitis, against HIV, but the approach that would be presented tomorrow also applicable to the another types of the drug, for example, antineoplastics, cardiovascular, antidiabetics. So the idea would be to highlight data-driven approach to the support of drugs research and development. Again, the link for the registration is there. After that, next week, we will have another 2 very interesting webinars. One of them would be about Reaxys and how Reaxys can support sustainable development with the focus on energy and environment. We will talk about green chemistry. We will talk about oil and gas downstream applications, about solar cells, etc. And another webinar next week would be focused on the high quality systematic reviews, innovative treatment, and improvement of decision-making in clinical practice. What's the difference between today's webinar? The today webinar is mainly focused on public health, and next one would be more focused on the clinical trials. But Alexey will explain in more details the difference. And addition, what I want to tell you is that all this information and even more, like the workflows, guidelines, instruction, how to use the Reaxys and Embase are available on the solution landing pages. This one is the solution landing page for the Reaxys. This one is the solution landing page for the Embase. As mentioned, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them using Q&A form in the webinar. And with this, I want to transfer the microphone to my colleague, Alexey Moiseev. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrei. Okay, we will continue talking about Embase, and now we will continue. I will tell a couple of words about comprehensive content of Embase. Embase, including biomedical information extracted from the literature in key areas for disease, drug, and medical device research. It's including pharmacology and toxicology, clinical medicine, genetics, biochemistry and molecular biology, microbiology, infectious disease, including COVID, cardiology, oncology, health policy, and so on. A lot of areas are existing in Embase. And if let's compare Embase with Medline, and also I give several samples to compare it with Google Scholar. Embase is really most comprehensive biomedical database that existing in at the moment. It's about 36 million records in this database from more than 8,000 journals and over 2 million conference abstracts from about 7,000 conferences. And all what is important, that all the content of Medline included into the Embase, and but also Embase have about content from about 3,000 journals that are not existing in Medline. And also Embase have much better coverage of non-English content and than Medline. Let's talk about this thing. You can on this slide you can see the coverage of Embase in different languages in compared to Medline. You can see that in Chinese, in German, in French, Spanish, Japanese, Russian, and Turkish, and other languages, Embase contain much more articles and much more information. And also, if same story with medical devices, indexing of information about medical devices in Embase much better. And all midline content included in Embase, about 3,000 unique journals indexed by Embase and not indexed by midline. And also Embase have a lot of professional search tools like PICO search, like PV Wizards. I will show a little bit later for you how to use these tools. The main benefit of Embase from database like Medline or Google is EMTREE taxonomy. It's special life science taxonomy. Taxonomy is the main method of indexing and processing of information, and taxonomy makes it possible to group terms and arrange them in the specific place on taxonomical tree inside of database. You can make using this tool, you can make very general search, for example, monoclonal antibodies, or type exact drug and exact therapy, or exact disease, and makes very specific search. And also Embase have a lot of synonyms. It's also very big difference in compared to Midline and to Google and other databases. For example, if you enter to Embase words heart attack, the taxonomy does not miss entries like myocardial infarction. It will be also be included into your request. But in Medline, in Google, you should enter all terms denoting to same phenomenon. Otherwise, you will miss information. And in Embase, you just use synonyms in Embase taxonomy, and you clearly understand what you're really looking now and what's in your request. On this slide, I trying to show what means search using the taxonomy and using synonyms. I entered 3 strings: furadantine with E in the end, and ivadintine. All these 3 words means totally same. It's same drug. And you can see that Medline and Google gives totally different result depending from your from the term that you entered in the request. And Embase, for Embase there is no difference. You can really able to control your search, your query, and you totally understand what expect from the database. You don't need to enter all the wording, you just and all the spelling, you just using one term and find everything that you need. Also, Embase have a lot of specially developed tools, professional tools, for example, for looking for information for medical devices, for pharmacovigilance, for drugs and other things that I will show you how to use it and what which benefit it gives to you. Also, Embase gives you hints. For example, if you're entering into the database MBAU back into the query, systems give you a hint that much better to use term manually emergency ventilation, because usually people use this term and it's indexed in taxonomy like this. You will find much better result using this term, and systems give you a hint about this. It really helps you to make your query much better. And also a lot of different tools and like PV Wizard and medical device search that I will show you a little bit better. On this slide, it illustrates the balance of efforts and percentage of relevant documents that you get from the system. For example, Google requires very little effort and not so lot of time of investment into your request and into your query, but or you will miss key publications, and also you you will not find a relevant result, and you don't have additional filter to find the information that you really need. Medline a little bit better. Even Scopus give you better results than PubMed, Medline, and Embase give you close to 100% result without and not takes a lot of efforts from you. It means that you don't need using more expensive solutions like text mining, and also you don't need the read text manually to have full access to the information. Okay, let's talk about indexing. Indexing for Embase is a manual process performed by trained indexers with a biomedical background. If original article is not in English, native speaker will read this and make indexing in English. So that's why coverage of non-English documents in Embase is much better, and because indexers read and analyze the full text of article, and that in order to identify relevant concept and relationship and index them with the most specific terms. Of course, it's the first steps, computer analyzing articles and give some help to these professional indexers, and the last steps, indexer human reads the article in journal and analyze the results of this article, and he or she analyzing also tables and pictures that existing in the article, and understand the real meaning of the documents. He understand absolutely everything that existing in the document. He or she checks the indexing performed by computer and adds the terms that was missed by computer. And the most important thing that doing this person, he arrange semantic relationship in content, arrange relationship between drugs, adverse drug effect, disease complications, or drugs with interaction, drug interaction, or disease and drug therapy, or exact drug that was used in this article. To find full information about safety of drug, for example, drug therapy, drug combination, drug interaction, drug comparison, you don't need to spend your time, and you don't really need a lot of article. You don't need even analyze the abstracts. In 5 seconds, you will see the full picture that you need about drug, medical device, disease, and other things. And all this information extracted, and also you can analyze it, and even you can export it to Excel file and analyze by other tools. Here's the here's the key Embase subheading that for this subheading did this triple indexing, and exactly this subheading are triple indexed and manually place this semantic relation. And for this subheading you can use this triple indexing to find the information. For example, you can use this manually extracted relation, for example, to find articles that describe breast cancer treatment with, for example, with everolimus. And it's look like this on this picture. You can see how it looks like. You just type everolimus and immediately answers to the questions: does it used for treatment of breast cancer, and how often, how much articles about this, and if you need, you can look the full list of articles, and you can also find the full text very easy, and also information from the abstracts from the conference. Here you can see all articles that related to breast cancer and everolimus. Here that was indexed, and triple links was placed and saved in the database, and you can easily take it, and you can easy to understand what's the relation between everolimus and breast cancer. This triple links instrument useful for finding specific data on drug disease, drug device, and device disease semantic relations. You can find it for searching also safety data for drugs and devices, investigate potential for development of combination of drugs, searching efficacy data for drugs and devices, and also it's a good guide for drug reporting strategies. Here, example of results. If you find some article that interesting for you in the Embase, you can click on it and start working with these documents. Very often you don't really need to read it, and because Embase will give you a lot of information. You will immediately see all indexed terms which existing in the in this article, and also you will see abstracts and a lot of things that will help you understand the meaning of document without the reading by using the indexed information. You can see drugs, diseases, adverse drugs effects that was extracted from full text, and you really understand what the document need, what the meaning of the document. And if you are working on systematic review, you can understand, is it really, does this document really need to be analyzed or and included into the review or not? And without reading document, you can make decision to spend your time on reading of this document or go to another one. And you see clear information. Is it about drug therapy, or it's about safety, or it's about something else? You can see all drugs that mention it in the articles. You can see, does this article about safety of drug, or it's about safety of some another drug that is not interesting for you. Very often the title and abstracts not help you to find this information. That's why using, if you are using Embase, you really don't need to spend a lot of time of reading and using extracting data and extracted terms that will help you. Let's talk about integrated instruments that integrated into the database. For example, instrument for that used for PICO search for conception. The name that names is PICO. Its concept consists of 4 parts. It's 4-part model, and patient, interventions, comparison, and outcome. And this instrument integrated into the Embase. And here the across of these 4 elements show you the most likely information of your clinical requests. You can organize this request using this instrument and find the information that you need using this instrument. It's including disease or conditions, or stage, severity, demographic characteristics like age, gender of patients, and other clinically relevant aspects. And also, it may include type of intervention and exposure or exposure, drug dose or duration, timing, route of administration, and so on. Using this tool, you can compare drugs with which other, or compare it with placebo, or control effectiveness of medical device. And also it may include outcomes if needed. And also in this tool integrated Embase taxonomy. The name of Embase taxonomy is EMTREE, and you can immediately understand very clear what you are looking for, because you see on which branch of taxonomy laying the term that you are looking. It makes your usage of PICO search much more comfortable. I will show you today a couple of samples how to use it. And also another instrument that used for several instruments that used for pharmacovigilance. A couple of words about pharmacovigilance. Pharmacovigilance involve not only the adverse drug reactions, but also other problems related to drugs, like unqualified drugs, drug treatment errors, lack of effectiveness, drug-related mortality, adverse interactions between drugs and another drugs, and the end interaction between drugs and food, and other facts that are important from point of view of safety. I think you remember this story about thalidomide. This is a famous case of this history of pharmacovigilance when predecessor of Novartis pharmaceutical synthesized this thalidomide. This thalidomide was very popular, more popular than aspirin in the middle of the last year, but the first post-marketing safety signals about potential danger of thalidomide was not recognized or recognized too late. And thousands children born with syndrome known as thalidomide embryopathy. To prevent all these things was created a system of pharmacovigilance over the world and in different countries. And Embase have several instruments for pharmacovigilance. The first very useful instrument, it's special subheadings that used for pharmacovigilance, and for special solution for pharmacovigilance. And it include special situation and unexpected outcomes. And also Embase has integrated professional instrument that names PV Wizard, that used for pharmacovigilance post-marketing monitoring of adverse drug reactions, drug toxicity, drug interactions, interaction between drugs and food, looking also for specific situations like pregnancy, lack of effectiveness, off-label use, and so on. Everything is here. And also this tool was developed in cooperation with Big Pharma and corresponds with good pharmacovigilance practice. It's very simple tool and I want to show you how to use it. It will be my first sample today.
Alexey, maybe you can show us how the Embase works.
Yes, yes. But I will enter. Usually we enter Embase using the web interface. You will be entered over a KB service, but not so big difference. When you enter Embase, you will see immediately its interface. And a lot of professional tools that help you to find what you need. If you looking for information about disease, you can use disease filter. For drugs, about drugs, you can use drug filter. Device, for device, you have several filters. And PICO instrument is also here. And I want to show you pharmacovigilance instrument. It's a very simple tool. You just need to enter the name of your drug. Click on the next step, and system will give you several variants of writing of the this term. You can use all of them, or you can switch and use only exactly that you really need. Because systems found a lot of synonyms to the term that you enter to the system automatically. Next step. On the next step, system automatically gives you all adverse drug reactions, totally like it necessary for GVP, good for pharmacovigilance practice. You can use it as it is, or you can edit it now to make some changes if you want. Next step. And the next step, systems give you information or filters for special situations, like GVP asking. You can also make some changes or use it as it is. Next step. On the next step, there is a human filter, because usually for pharmacovigilance, not so important information about animals, and you only need information about humans. You can also edit it, and you also can use some filter by time. For example, you can filter only last 2, 3, or 5 years, publication for last 2, 3, 5 years. Next. And now we finish it working of PV Wizard. It was created, a system created so very complicated and long string. Previously, it was taken about 2 weeks to create this so long string for every drug, but now it takes several seconds, and you have in this search all pharmacovigilance related information in, and found a lot of articles that related to safety of this drug.
And what about subheadings? How does it work? Can you show us?
Thank you, Andrei. Here we have a lot of subheading. For example, we can very easily we have a lot of results, more than 100,000 results. It will take a lot of time to analyze all these documents. But we can, using subheadings, we can filter the information. For example, with subheading EMB, we can very fast filter, for example, include into the search only meta-analysis. Just click on meta-analysis, click on search, and from this great amount of articles, we will came to about 1,000 results that that really possible to analyze. Usually in meta-analysis, in meta-analysis exists all the information that you need. Also, you can filter it information. For example, you can filter by Cochrane review, systematic review, randomized controlled trials, and so on, and really filter a lot of articles that are really not so important for you. I will also show today several other samples that using subheadings. Subheadings very good to use subheadings together with taxonomy EMTREE. I will show you at first how to use taxonomy. Embase taxonomy is here. You can click on the top of the window of browser and found EMTREE and enter your request. Type your request. For example, beta androgenic reception blocking agent. You will immediately find where it's laying in the taxonomy tree. You will see everything, and you clearly understand what you are really looking for. You'll find where it is. You can go up for androgenic reception blocking agents and go down to some more specific agents and some more specific requests and queries. Okay, we found this beta androgenic receptor blocking agent. Take this query to drug search, and also the same story. We can a lot of different subheadings. This same subheading also here for systematic review, meta-analysis, randomized controlled trials. Also, we have drug subheading. Drug subheading right here. For example, we can filter only information about pharmacokinetic, pharmacology. We are only interested in drug therapy, or drug analysis, or drug administration, or just clinical trials. Or, for example, we interested only pharmacoeconomics, and we can click here and found only information about pharmacoeconomics. It really gives you very fast possibility to filter information that you really don't need. Okay, let's use this request. Sorry, I forgot to switch on filter. Yes, drug subheading. Okay, for example, we only interested in drug therapy. Click here, drug therapy, and click to search. And we found all the information about drug therapy of beta-androgenic receptors agents. It's about 100,000 records related to this. But we need to find something more specific. For example, we can also add filter cardiac disease. Also, we can go to EMTREE, enter cardiac disease, use this filter. Also, we found it. System gives you a hint that better to use heart disease. This is because usually people using this term. Also send it to a request. And now we have two requests, heart disease and beta-androgenic receptor blocking. But we can, what is very comfortable in in Embase, you can combine your search in the search history. You can click on search number 2 and search number 3 and click on combine, and you will very fast with logic AND, and you will combine to this request and will find cardiac disease together with drug therapy, cardiac disease, and androgenic receptor blocking. And for example, for your patients also related information about asthma. Click on also add asthma. Here is asthma. And we can combine all these three filters in three search in one, and find all the information related to this. It's possible to analyze and make some decision about the therapy. If you want to make more training about how to use EMTREE and using of subheading, you can use this link, and it will give you more detailed explanation how to use it. It's they're available video tutorial for this, but we will go to the next sample. For example, I want to show you one sample that I
Alexei, during the presentation, you covered triple indexing, which sounds quite exciting. Maybe you can show us some examples related to triple indexing as well.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Andrei. Okay, I will show you how to use triple indexing. For example, you trying to find some information about some drug. For example, for any drug. You can find a lot of articles about, for example, about paracetamol. To find information about adverse drug reaction without Embase, you need to read all these articles and and analyzed all these articles to find necessary information. With Embase, you have very excellent instrument. You can go to drug, and here a list of drugs that were extracted from these 100,000 of results. Paracetamol on the first place because it was requested, and you can click on details, and you just need to click to adverse drug reaction. You see that there are 3,000, more than 3,000 articles about adverse drug reactions of paracetamol. You can click on this, and you can easily see the total links or total list of adverse drug reactions that are related to paracetamol. On first place is liver toxicity, more than 600 articles about this. You can click on this and read these 600 articles. Or you just, if you want to have information about all adverse drug reaction, you can click here and analyze all the list of adverse drug reaction related to paracetamol. And also, what is very comfortable, you can export everything that you see in Embase. You can export in Excel file. Click to export and download to Excel and analyze this to Excel and use it in Excel. You can see with the number of how often it's happened in articles. It's triple indexing not gives only access to adverse drug reaction, but also to drug combination. All the articles when paracetamol was used in combination with other drugs, you will find very easy. Just click here. And you can all find exact drug which interesting for you in combination with which drug you can find information. Another possibility is drug comparison. You can find all the document when paracetamol is compared with other drugs. With ibuprofen, with diclofenac, with other drugs. Also, you can find very fast all article when indexers found information about drug-drug interactions. If some drug-drug interaction was found in article, it immediately you will immediately see it right here in the interface. And also, for example, if you're interesting in interaction of paracetamol, for example, with caffeine, you can click here and find this 21 article. Also, you can find information about drug therapy. Here you will see the full list of diseases that that paracetamol used for treatment. At first place, of course, pain, fever, and other things. And here you will see not only registered indications, but also of target and of label using, all because extracted about information about everything, not only about registered using. And also these two subheading that I was talking about, it's a special situation for pharmacovigilance and unexpected outcomes. It's these two instruments very helpful for pharmacovigilance. Okay, I want to show you several samples related to coronavirus, related to COVID. For example, you want trying to find information about chlorokinin. Does it used for treatment of COVID or for coronavirus or not? It's we're going to search, going to drug, type here chlorokinin, and send it to search. Let's hide history, and it's about 40,000 records about this. And you, by the logic, you should go to disease and analyze where does COVID are here or not. But you will find a lot of different diseases here. It's also possible to use for this triple linking. Find here, going to drugs, find chlorokinin here, and go to drug therapy. And here you see a lot of diseases that used together with chlorokinin, and you also you have special helpful things that you can enter here, coronavirus, for example. Here, several things. You find coronavirus disease, coronavirus infection, and other related to coronavirus topics. And we are filtered from these 40,000 records only related to coronavirus. And you see that really a lot of articles about this. But you can also make it easier to filter only, for example, meta-analysis and systematic review, Cochrane review, randomized controlled trials, and filter only this document. It means that to have the more or less full picture about this, you need to read only 14 documents or analyze it. Also, I want to show you another instrument that the name is PICO search. It's here. It's also very comfortable instrument to find information. For example, you also interesting. You want to find some information about coronavirus here. Let's type here coronavirus. Sorry. It's giving you hint that better to use coronavirus term, and also you see immediately where it is into the EMTREE database. You have clear understanding what you're really looking for. Is it a correct term or not? And you also can system gives you a hint that there existing for synonymous to this. You can click on synonymous, and also, for example, coronavirus human. You can switch it on or switch it off if you want. Also, you can, for example, interesting to read articles about mortality rate together with coronavirus. Here you can find this term. Also, systems gives you where it is in the taxonomy, and you understand that you're really looking for correct term, and also giving you synonymous to this term. And you make this search very fast. That really gives you about 700 articles about this. And you can give additional filters, for example, as we was using before, meta-analysis, randomized controlled trials, and so on to filter a less important document. You can go back to PICO search and add, for example, interventions and comparison. For example, comparison you can use for comparison of your drug or medical device with others. And also, you know that together with coronavirus, very often happen hyperleukemia. To find the information about this, let's use EMTREE. Go to EMTREE, enter here to taxonomy hyperleukemia, and systems give you a hint that better to use cytokine storm because people using it much often. Yeah, click to cytokine storm. We have found it in the EMTREE, in taxonomic tree, and send it to request. And found information about this. You can find information about drugs that are used for treatment of cytokine storm, and so on and so on. You can use the filters and use triple linking and other things that will help you to find the information that important for your decision making. Or, for example, you can make the same request with Kawasaki disease. Going to disease, enter Kawasaki disease. It sometimes happen with child together with coronavirus. The systems give you a hint that better to use myocarditis lymph node syndrome. And so on. You can find the information about this. And also how to more information about drugs that used for treatment of this, and so on and so on. And also all the filters that we was talking about today also available. Or in another related to COVID request, that's antimalarial drug. You can also go to taxonomy to EMTREE and enter antimalarial drugs. Sorry. Okay, we can use, sometimes it's better to use quick search. More than 40,000 documents about this. And also filter by Cochrane reviews, meta-analysis, and so on. Or, for example, you can make filters by age of patients. If you're interested of treatment of adult people or young people, you can very easy to filter by age of patients. For example, if we are interested to use antimalarial drugs together with COVID for aged patients, you can click here and only found the articles for aged patients older than 65 years. All these samples will be existing on the slides that I will place in the Research Academy, and after this webinar, you will be able to, using this slide, make the same request and make your personal study. Another thing that I want to show you, you can click on every document that you're finding in Embase. For example, this one, you can click here. And for example, for this document, there is no even abstracts. But all these drug terms will help you. You have clear understanding which drugs are mentioned in the document. Drug terms will show you the diseases that mentioned in the document, and also all these things that are interesting for us. We will find in other terms like aged patients, hospital patients, and other things. You will find. It means that without reading the document, even without abstracts, you have understanding what is in this document. Is it really important for you? Is it necessary to read this document and go to full text on the published website and read it, or do not spend your time and go to another document that is more interesting and more related to your to your question. And for example, how to make comparison between drugs. It's let's go to search as a question. Yeah, sorry. Okay, going to quick search, switch to drugs. And for example, we are interested in compare in hydrochloroquine and compare it with some other drug. Enter hydrochloroquine here. Right here, you can make your add some subheading. For example, if it's interesting for pharmacoeconomics and important for you from point of view of economic calculations for some tender procedure or something like this, you can switch in drug subheading special filter pharmacoeconomic and have look on more related to these articles and more related to this document. Okay, hydrochloroquine. If you want to find some articles that related to comparison of these drugs to another one, you're going to come. You can use triple indexing and type here the drug with which you want to compare hydrochloroquine. Type here, for example, Thalidomide, and very easily we found all articles about this. It's only 5 articles that very easy to read. Let's go back to previous requests. Again, go to triple indexing. Hide again hydroxychloroquine. Again, drug comparison, and here you can type placebo. And you can find all the articles where your drug is compared with placebo to understand if you really want to find articles about the efficacy of this drug. The same story with combination. For example, you're looking for drugs that can be used in combination with Thalidomide for COVID patients. Go enter also Thalidomide. Here. Let's use filter coronavirus here in combination with last one. Make combination. It's not wrong, it's date rate. Okay, let's go to EMTREE and enter coronavirus. Combine to this last filter in history, in search history. And now we have only drugs where is tocilizumab used for treatment of coronaviruses. And you can easily find the document. You can very easy to able to find with which drugs also with combination with which drugs used the tocilizumab for treatment of coronavirus patients. It's very easy to make it using triple indexing. I want to show you some other possibilities and features of a PICO instrument. Let's reset this query. And for example, we are interested to of trying to find the documents for prevention and control of perinatal mortality. We can make it very easy. Enter to interventions, prevention of and control. And here to outcome, perinatal mortality. Here you are. Of course, we can add synonyms if needed, and show results. And we easily found all the articles that related to prevention and control of perinatal mortality. Analyzing this document, you can find a lot of information, and also triple indexing will help you to find which drugs are using more often for this, and also have the full picture what strategy you can make for this to work with perinatal prevention and control of perinatal mortality. With using drugs filter, you can find drugs that very often used for this. With age filter, you can find also some related to age information. That also can help you. Okay, I want to show you another sample.
Alexei,
Yes?
can you show us the link to the Research Academy you talked previously?
Sorry.
Because I think it's also can be very important for colleagues to be able to download materials, to download the presentation, and unfortunately we are very close to the time to the end webinars. Maybe we should start to covering questions.
Thank you, Andrei, for your help. I'm sorry I was not able to show you today all the samples that I prepared, but I think it's it's because of on the beginning we lost about 10 minutes of our webinar, but no problem. All the samples will be available on the slides. It will be also slides related to hepatitis that I know very important for Egypt. I need to get the slide of my presentation, and if you want also to get certificate of attendance of this webinar, you just need to visit researchacademy.com and with extensions workshop. Just use this link that you see on this slide, and please use webinar code VSNDIA. And you can just make screenshot of this screen that you see now, and you will get all the information. You will need to answer a couple of questions and fill the short survey about this webinar, and you will be able to download all the documents. You will be able to get a lot of links to tutorial videos, and also will able to get your certificate. And I think we have a lot of questions.
Just before we get to the questions, thank you for the presentations, Alexei. Can you just go quickly over the points that, which items we had to, that you had to jump over because of the time constraints, and the fact that the webinar had to be delayed because I believe there was a bit of a delay or a technical issue in confirming the time for the webinar and the codes for access for the Zoom webinar. So can you just mention the points that people can find on the slides on Researcher Academy that we haven't had enough time to capitulate on?
Are you asking to go back to the slide to Research Academy?
Yeah, no, just the on your presentation, you had to skip few slides due to the time constraints. So just can you let people know what those slides are covering? So just okay. I believe I saw, for example, some searching capacities on medical devices, for example. What else can people find if they go over to the slide deck?
Yes, I will show several slides. It's, for example, Embase able to translate everything in Arabic language, and even people that are not familiar with English able to use it. Also, some samples about carcinogenity, mutagenity, reproducible toxicity, and other things. Also, some show how to, for example, several samples about dentistry, because a lot of information about this in Embase. Several slides about how to compare medical devices, for example, devices for tomography, if you have some tender for tomography, how to find producers of tomography to whom to send a request for this device to make the competition, and all these things. It's you can get it directly from the slides.
So that's I believe that's going to be very interesting for people to just check out, and maybe we can also try to handle some of the Q&A for now, as you were saying. So, but just we had to give people an overview of what to expect on the presentation deck. And I believe they are downloadable once it's the same process to get the certificate, and then you should be able to download the presentation, right?
Yes, yes, correctly.
Perfect.
Question, is Embase available through EKB until July? Andrei, probably you can answer, I'm not sure.
Yes, the solution which is opened via EKB, like Reaxys and Embase, they open it till the end of July. So if you plan to have some benefits, and if you see some value from this presentation or from previous one, or would like to attend the webinars announced, I advise you to use the Reaxys and Embase right now and not wait till September, because at the end of July, we will close together with EKB, we will have to close the access to them.
Next question, can I see search for alternative drug in database in case it's not found in the market? Everything depending from publication. If there was some publication, if they index it, you will find it. Depending from drug, just try. You have access to Embase. Just try to find the information.
Maybe I can add something to what you just said. So in Embase, in taxonomy tree, we have a very huge list of synonyms for each drug. So as you may know, there is an international non-patent name. It's like preferred, usually it's preferred term in Embase, but also a lot of generic names of generic drugs is also available. So just you start typing something in the Embase, for example, even if it's generic name, you will be advised about the international non-patent name or preferred term, and making search with this in the filter drug trade names, you will see the other trade names of the same drug, so you can assess which of them is available on your market.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Andrei. Next question: what is PV Wizard? PV Wizard, it's a special instrument for creation of queries that related to pharmacovigilance. Today I shown one samples how to use it. It's very specific tools only for pharmacovigilance, only for pharmacovigilance. Next questions, where are you going to finish? Sorry, I think we will finish in next, not later than next 15 minutes, as I understand. How I translate to Arabic? It's very easy. It's always available here. Just switch to Arabic, and here you are. It's in several seconds, and everything translated to Arabic, even the name of the articles. It's integrated Google Translate. Also, if you will click on the document, you will be also see the translation of some documentation. It will take some time. You will automatically translated abstracts and some other information, but terms will be in English. But in any case, it could help some people that that only prefer using Arabic language. Sometimes translation is not excellent because it's just Google Translate.
But anyway, I think it's really great and helpful.
Next question, for example, I want to retrieve all the clinical study which applied stem cell transplantation for diabetes mellitus patients. It's necessary to try to make this request. I think we will have you email and I will answer directly to you, because right now I cannot answer. We need to try, but it will take time. But I am sure we can make this request in Embase. Mechanical ventilation device search. Yes, it was on my slide today. I will try to find how to search information about mechanical ventilations, how to compare them. Just download the slide and you will find the information about this.
There is a question that was asking about the word EMTREE. What does it mean? So I believe EMTREE is a term created by Embase for the index, right?
Yes, EMTREE, it's internal taxonomy. How to say? It's like language of the database. Database only can speaking with this language when it's indexation of the information. If you're using the terms that existing in EMTREE, you will find information very found with synonyms, with a lot of possibility. And for example, if you're using term that existing in EMTREE, you will immediately will see where it is where it is in the EMTREE, on which branch and on which folder you will find it. It's not only it's a way of indexation, and it's make your search very fast and comfortable, and you will find all the information that you need if it's existing in EMTREE. And system always give you hints. Don't use this term. Use another term that's existing in EMTREE, and giving you search more comfortable. And I see a lot of very specific requests, like phytopharmaceuticals. A lot of information in phytopharmaceuticals is in Embase, but I think we can discuss it with the persons that asked this question privately. I want to tell that it will be several webinars, and we will be also talking about veterinary later on the next webinars. Also information about preclinical studies, for example, existing in EMTREE. If you will also find this information, if you will. Veterinary medicine. Oh, no, wrong term. Animal disease, a lot of articles about animal disease. Andrei, are you here?
Yes, I'm here. I just rejoined. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Just small comment regarding the veterinary disease. So tomorrow we will make very interesting webinar, which would be focused on pharmaceutical drug development, where we will cover 2 products, Reaxys and Embase. And I encourage everybody who are interested in veterinary disease to visit the webinar for tomorrow as well, because we will talk about this a little bit.
So it is drug development for both humans and for animals.
Yes. So the idea of tomorrow webinar is to show how big data from clinical practice, from experimental trials can support the drug development, and it's applicable for any application like human drug disease, anti-infective drugs. I think anti-infective drugs is quite important point right now due to the epidemic of coronavirus, but also it's applicable for the veterinary drugs. So I encourage everybody to visit the webinar for tomorrow as well. Is there any other questions?
Yes, there are several questions, but they are very, very specific. For sure, we will answer to all these questions directly to the people, to the emails, because a lot of them, and it will take really a lot of time to show to everyone these answers about phytopharmaceuticals, about bacterial taxonomy and other things.
Yeah. By the way, we will cover bacterial taxonomy and bacterial anti-infective drugs, including antiviral drugs, antibacterial drugs tomorrow. So please stay with us.
There was this one question on which button do you use to translate? Because I believe it appears in your screen with Cyrillic, so it appears in Russian on your screen with the Cyrillic alphabet. But it should look the same. It depends on your system settings in general. So if your computer is set up with an English, in English, you should be able to see the Google logo with select language. And it would depend on the language you have created for that you have set your system or your operating system with.
Definitely, and the Google logo should appear in the top right corner, somewhere there, of your browser, top right corner of your browser.
So I believe we've covered the majority of the questions, but some of these questions are actually the topics of our next webinars. Can you display again, please, for the last time, the screen for how to download the certificate and the presentation before
Yes.
we conclude our meeting?
Yes. Again, the links, a link for the Research Academy resource. It's from where you can get the slide of the presentations and also some learning materials, tutorials, video, and certificates. And please also fill the short survey about the today webinar.
I believe so. So,
well,
what
just
should we
give me to share the screen to show the agenda of ongoing webinars. So everybody who are interested in tomorrow's webinar can make the photo of my screen and to be able to visit it. So this is the agenda, and tomorrow we will have this one webinar focused on drug development. We will cover several very specific topics. We will cover anti-infective drugs, and we will share some interesting thoughts and approach to developing even new drugs, to repositioning drugs. It's very quite modern and quite famous approach. So register with this link. You can make a screenshot or photo it on your iPhone, or you can register to the webinar from the landing page from Reaxys or Embase and visit the webinar tomorrow and ask the question. We will happy to engage with you and explain all typical ideas and key points. And with this positive note, I think we have to finish for today. And thank you again for being with us, for visiting our webinars. I hope you will enjoy using the product Embase and Reaxys, and will join the webinars tomorrow and next week. Thank you for all participants. I wish you a good day and goodbye.